Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the YouTube channel. I just want to apologize really quickly for any kind of background noises that this microphone may pick up. I live in a house full of people. There's people that walk outside and make all kinds of noises, and this thing picks up everything. So this is just a quick apology if you hear anything weird. But I'm not trying to have a long-winded introduction, just trying to go straight in for the kill. So first and foremost, I'm pretty sure that most people that have been on YouTube for a long time knows that they're trying to censor people now. And under some YouTube videos, they have like these little disclaimers at the bottom, like some Wikipedia page that kind of explains how whatever content that person is speaking about is basically a conspiracy. So they'll always put things like people like flat earthers and people that talk about the truth. They always put a little link at the bottom of their video to kind of tell people that this is a conspiracy theory. And we all know that the moment that the government or whatever starts flagging things as a conspiracy theory, it's most likely the truth, because they're trying to conceal it, or they're trying to kind of push people into a box, making them think that they're crazy or they're delusional or they have these crazy wild beliefs and that no one should really take them seriously because they're just, they've watched one too many movies kind of thing. And that's one of the main ways that the enemy, well, we do have an enemy, which is the government, but that's the number one way the enemy likes to discredit people, is by making them like appear as if they're crazy, they don't know what they're talking about. They've been showing us that in movies over and over again. Like, there's always that one crazy man that's telling everybody the truth, but no one believes in. They just kind of cast him aside as he's just crazy, he's had one too many drinks, or he's on drugs or whatever. But at the end of the movie, that person has always been right in the end, but at the time they always kind of told them that they were crazy and they were just a conspiracy theorist. And conspiracy theory is just a new tagline they like to put on people that are speaking the truth. I believe that veganism is an agenda that the government is trying to push. Now, I don't know how we've gone this far in society and we still don't understand that the government is run by an elite group of people, and these people do not have our best interest at heart. They want us dead. They want to control us, mind control, all these different things. I'm going to go into these topics later on, but there is an agenda to be pushed, right? And they do this constantly, over and over and over again. They push things in the forefront, in the mainstream, and people fall for it. And then we don't question anything. We're not skeptical about anything that the government pushes forward, and we just kind of just accept it. Like, after all the different things that they've pushed towards us, and we still accept it with open arms without asking any questions. And okay, so anyways, I'm just going to go into that. So the reason why I believe veganism is a cult and it's an agenda is because every time that celebrities start promoting something, or they start to push it everywhere in supermarkets, they start like advertising these things like vegan options, vegan this is a new lifestyle, this is the best lifestyle for us, it's it makes people live longer. They come out with documentaries, they come out with all sorts of things to push this thing and make it so true and so good for humankind. That's the number one red flag as to how you should run the opposite way, or you should start questioning it, and you should start doing your research. And also, don't always trust the research that you read, because a lot of the researchers, which you would probably know, are funded by the government. They are funded by these elites, and if people produce actual research that is true, they're not going to put that up. They're going to put the only research that's actually going to back up what they're saying. So the research is always going to promote all the health benefits, all the great things about whatever they're trying to push, like veganism. And that's why all these documentaries and research and all that stuff, they always push the great and amazing things that veganism can do for your body. However, I believe that this is just part of the New World Order, And if you don't know, the New World Order is just this new world that they're trying to run, where it's going to be one world government, one world religion, one world currency, one world diet. I believe that the veganism is going to be the diet for the New World Order. And I believe there's many reasons why they want to push this thing. And one of the things is, I believe that on a vegan diet, you're generally much weaker. They like to push this thing like, oh, yes, sorry about that. They like to push this thing of people like, oh, when I became vegan, I had all this energy inside of me. Yeah, you probably did have all this energy inside of you because your body was letting go of all the toxic waste you've been putting inside of your body from all these processed foods that you buy from the store. Of course, you're going to feel better because you're eating vegetables and things like that. However, is that the most sustainable diet? I don't think so, because as people, we need a balanced diet. So what does a healthy, balanced diet actually look like? I believe that as a society, the issue is not what we're eating exactly, but it's just how much we are eating. The problem isn't so much as we're eating meats and dairy products, they're the devil or whatever. It's because we're eating too much of it. And it's because we're not reading the labels on our food when we go buy in the supermarkets and things. We don't see how much added sugar, added flavorings and all sorts of things that they put inside of our food to make it addictive, so that we go buy it more, we eat more of it, and then we are such an immobile society, and it's been designed that way to make everything so convenient for us that we don't need to be mobile. If we want to go somewhere, jump in a car, jump on a bus. We don't really use our legs much to walk places no more. Everything is pretty much immobile. Like when you go to work in corporate America or corporate UK, whatever, you kind of just sit in a desk all day and then you kind of go home on public transport again. So you don't really exercise much. So the only time you do it is when you actually actively go to the gym and things like that. And other than that, we're pretty much an immobile society unless you consciously decide to be more mobile. So because of that, and because we overeat, they've sold us lies time and time again that we need to eat 3 meals a day and it needs to consist of this, and this, and all sorts of things that we need to eat. Apparently now it's 5 meals a day, just 5 little meals a day. Like they want us to pump us with food all day long, with all these addictive things they put inside of our food, like sugar, which is basically legal drug. It's a legal drug because people are addicted to sugar. And then we have all this food, we're immobile, no wonder we're fat and we're we're sluggish and lazy as people in general and things like that. It's because of these things. We're overeating, we're not moving that much. This could all be regulated, right? If we just stopped eating as much and moved a lot more. And as cliche as it sounds, it pretty much true. And one thing that I've learned is if you just fast throughout your day, like fast for like a good 12 to 16 hours of the day without eating, just drink water, flush all that stuff out, and then you just eat like 1 or 2 meals and then you don't eat again, you'll be fine. Trust me, fasting is important. And when you've fasted for enough time and you eat a well-balanced meal that contains the protein from fish or from meat, and then you have your vegetables and you have your carbs and everything in a well-balanced meal and everything, you will be fine and you will be a healthy person. And if you choose to work out, choose to ride a bike or walk places or whatever and use your body as a machine as it should be used, then you will be fine, you will be healthy. All this veganism is the only way forward is the biggest lie, because from time and time people have lived all kinds of diets and they were pretty much healthy people that lived long lives without being vegan. And I asked my mom how she used to live, how people used to live back in Africa where she grew up, and they ate fish, they ate chicken, they ate like carbohydrates, like beans and things like that. They ate vegetables, they ate rice, they ate all these different things. And they were very, very much healthy because they walked everywhere and they didn't eat all the time. So health is not dependent on just being vegan. It's dependent on how much you're eating and how much you move and how much you're mobile, right? So these vegans, they talk about, okay, yeah, I felt so much better when I was vegan, la 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 la. Probably. But is it sustainable? Maybe not. I'm pretty sure people could survive on fruits and vegetables, because if it was the end of the world and the only thing you had to eat was fruits and vegetables, you were able to survive. But would you have the most energy you could ever have in your life? I don't think so. I think that there's important things that you can gain from eating fish and eating proteins and things like that are beneficial for the body. And I just think that it's just an agenda they're trying to push to make people weaker, because veganism and being raw in eating your foods would be ideal if the foods that we were getting were fresh. If I grew a garden full of fresh fruits, fresh vegetables from the ground, and I was just eating that straight, then I'll be calm. But because of all these we don't even know where our fruits and vegetables are coming from these factories. They pump all kinds of pesticides inside of our foods. Like, the nutritional value of all these fruits and vegetables that vegans are eating don't even have that much nutritional value for the body. So when you go completely vegan, you're not getting all the nutrients that you could be getting if you grew your own vegetables and things like that. So the diet, I can see how there's an attraction to it, but in the grand scheme of things, like, it's actually really not as great as people believe it is. And don't be fooled. I fell for it. Like, there was a whole summer where I went vegan. Yeah, I saw some changes. I lost a bit of weight and things like that. But for the most part, I felt very weak. I felt tired all the time. And I went full vegan. Like, as in, I gave up meat. I gave up dairy products, all that kind of stuff. I just went straight fruits, veg, carbs. And I still felt very weak and things like that. And it was just not sustainable. And that's why I went back to meat. And when I went back to meat, I felt good again. Like, I felt more strong and more just more active and things like that. I had more energy. So it's just like, what are you trying to sell us? Like, when the mainstream pushes something, always question it. I just believe that the diet is meant to make people feel weaker in their body, and people that are much weaker are much easier to control. And that's the whole point and the whole purpose of this, is to control people's minds. I just believe that. So yeah, veganism is an agenda. It's a cult, to be honest, because some of the weirdest, most angry and aggressive people I've ever met are people that are vegans. Like, they ride for this thing as if their life depends on it. And it's kind of like weird. Like, why is it that vegans, they try to force everybody to be vegan? Like, everybody should be vegan. If you're not vegan, you're like some sort of like enemy of the planet, enemy of animals. I'm going to get into that, but it's like a cult. Like, people that are vegan are such angry people. And it's like, if veganism is such a great, beautiful lifestyle and you feel so much better inside of you, shouldn't your emotions be better? Like, shouldn't you be able to manage how you speak to people better? Shouldn't you be a better human being in general because your diet and your lifestyle is just so great? But no, vegan people are some of the most aggressive people I've ever seen in my life. And it's like, that's a bit weird, because it's also kind of like cultish, because it's kind of making people feel so uncomfortable and trying to push this thing, make people feel guilty for eating meat, make people feel guilty for not being vegan, and then trying to indoctrinate people into coming into this cult. Veganism is a cult, man. I don't care what anybody tells me. And like, I know that not all vegans are like that, but a lot of them are, and it's very, very weird. Like, you have to question it. And obviously veganism has taught me like one or two things. Like, it's taught me to listen to your body, because I did learn one or two things when I went vegan. Like, when I went vegan, I realized when I stopped being vegan that my body doesn't react well to milk. It reacts well to like butter and things like that, but when it comes to like milk, it doesn't do well. And I realized when I went vegan, my skin cleared up. But when I started drinking milk and things like that, I started to have acne again. So I realized, okay, cool, milk is a no-go for me personally. but it's because I just listen to my body. And now I don't drink milk no more, and my skin is clear, but I still eat meat and I still eat, other things, and like my body's fine, kind of thing. So that's one thing. And also, this is how you know for sure that this is an agenda, because wasn't it like a few years ago when they were pushing the fact that milk is so good for you, it's strong for your bones, it promotes health in children, yes, milk, and now suddenly milk is the devil and we should all stop drinking milk? Like, what are you trying to tell us? Like, they're always flip-flopping between different things to push different messages across to people. Like, wake up, everybody, wake up. So veganism, I think it goes hand to hand with climate change. Climate change is a hoax. I'm just going to call it what it is. Climate change is a hoax, and global warming is a hoax. It's all to push something. They want to, this whole idea of, they want to depopulate the earth. They want to, it's all, climate change is all about depopulation. And one of the movies that really talks about this and highlights this is Kingsman, The Secret Service. Like, everybody should watch that, because there's a lot of messages in both of the movies that they have about what the elite are actually doing. If you pay attention, they want to depopulate the earth and things like that because of the climate and things, and because the global warming, there's too many people on earth. Everybody, I read some article because every person's carbon footprint throughout their years is causing too many carbon emissions, that's causing global warming, blah blah blah. So if there's less people, there's less carbon emissions, la 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 la, and that means that global warming decreases. So basically their answer to climate change is to depopulate the earth, so people should stop having children and reproducing, which is why I believe that they vaccinate people which causes them to become infertile so that they don't have children. They also are pushing this abortion thing, so that people kill their children more, so that there's less people being born. All these different things, veganism, all that kind of stuff, I think is all under the same umbrella to cause depopulation, so that climate change, quote unquote, stops. I think it's a bunch of baloney, but we're going to discuss that more in other videos. But sorry about all this noise. But yes, that's one of their the main reasons why. And climate change is all a hoax, man. Like, the earth is not getting warmer. Like, it's all a bunch of nonsense. But anyways, I believe that veganism, climate change, all that stuff is all part of the agenda that they're trying to push for the new world order, the new age. And if these are words that you're not really accustomed to, these are words that you haven't heard much, then you need to wake up and smell the roses, because this is exactly what they're trying to do. And don't you think it's funny that the whole vegan thing, caring so much about animals, oh my god, the way that they're killing the animals, all that stuff, yeah, all this sympathy that human beings have over these animals, yeah, that we're killing so viciously so that we can eat them, we're so inhumane, right? Cool. So how comes when it comes to killing children and aborting babies and murders, everything, people aren't really that phased, but when it comes to killing animals, suddenly there's a huge outcry? I just believe that through movies and everything, they've literally desensitized us so much to human death. Like, action movies are predominantly made up of the mass shooting and killing of human beings. Like, if you go watch an action movie and you don't see the killing of human beings, is it really an action movie? No, because all they do is kill each other, and all these epic scenes of just shooting and stabbing and all sorts of ways. And people are desensitized to seeing the death of human beings on a screen. People are desensitized to seeing death on the screen through media and the news. You always see someone being shot, schools being shot up, all sorts of things that will become desensitized to death of human beings. And yet everybody has such a huge outcry when it comes to the death of animals and cows and things like that aren't really, they're just animals, but obviously science has made it so that we all believe that we're animals too. We are not animals, we are human beings. We are not animals, but that's for another video. But they want to push this thing that we're animals too, and they're animals, so we should treat them like that, blah 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 blah. No, and no again. Like, people feel more sympathy over the death of animals than they do about the death of real human beings, and that's very telling on where society is at the very current moment. Like, I don't get it. Animals eat animals. They don't discriminate. If you're, at the bottom of the food chain, you're considered food, and that's just, it is what it is. Like God created the earth, and he gave us dominion over it. He told us you could eat whatever you want, fruits, vegetables, whatever, but he also gave us animals so that we may eat. You know what I'm saying? And I'm a Christian, and I believe that God gave us he allowed us to eat meat. And like, if you read the Bible, Old Testament, New Testament, like, they've been eating meat, they've been eating fruits, vegetables, but they've been eating meat as well. Like, they always sacrifice some sort of a lamb or whatnot, and they would eat that occasionally, but they ate meat. And one thing that kind of just clicked into my mind, that was like, okay, this makes sense. Like, did Jesus not feed the 5,000 with bread and fish? And these are the two things that are being warred against in the dieting world. Like, let's be real, even the keto diet, it can come under the same agenda. Isn't the keto diet talking about you should eat everything, like, but have a really, really low carb, so don't really eat carbs, which is things like bread, pasta, and things like that. And then on the other end of the spectrum, there's vegans that tell you don't eat meat, don't eat any kind of animal products. But when Jesus fed the 5,000, he gave them fish and carbs, two of the things that all these diets are warring against. So it makes you think, why are you trying to take away my protein from fish and things like that, and take away my carbohydrates in my diet? What are you trying to do? You're trying to make me weak so you can control me. Like, this is not conspiracy, this is factual. Like, and there's such a thing as keto vegan or vegan keto. Like, so what are you eating then? What are you eating? Like, it doesn't make sense. If you have a well-balanced diet, you will be healthy and you will be fine. That's what I think. What people need to do is to fast more out of their day, move more, and in their eating window, eat for what you need. Eat when you're hungry. More time, people eat because their body is literally, like, people need to treat their bodies like a machine, because it is. Like, the body is the best adapter of environment in this whole world. Whatever you do to your body will adapt. So when you start eating one meal a day, your body will adapt, and you won't even be hungry for the whole day until that exact time that you need to eat, and your body will be hungry for that time. But if you eat all the time, your body will always tell you that it's hungry, because that's what you've trained it to do. People just need to fast more, move more, and eat a well-balanced diet, and they'll be fine. But vegan, keto, all that stuff is all a part of the agenda and part of the new world order and everything. Believe me that. And I would advise people that want to go vegan and things like that, or who are vegan and then it's not even for them, like they don't feel good and things like that, and they're forcing it based on a few success stories, when not everybody has success stories. That's another story for another day. But I urge people to listen to their bodies and go back to eating good, healthy amount of protein, carbohydrates, fats, all sorts of things, because it's like, wake up, people, just wake up. And I said what I said. Thank you for listening.